have no idea where this will lead us, but I have a definite feeling it will be a place both wonderful and strange.
Hello, hello. My name is the Unplugged Professor, and this over here is the pretty pig to my oink oinks, the bobber to my snake, the face of God to my devilish one, the hayseed to my chowder-headed yokel, the church potluck to my diet lasagna, the coke to my cherry, the bloody donuts to my shot-dead mina bird, and the bullet to my Leo Johnson.
Kalil.
Hi,
that was beautiful.
Thank you.
I have never heard such well-written, inspired words before.
Thank you. I can't do this again. Season 2, I have to think of something different.
Oh, I like the idea.
Shove.
I like the idea that I do all the ones leading up to the season finale of season 2, and then you have to recite all of them because season 2 is like 3 times longer.
3 times longer? Well, see. Maybe that could be still an entertaining. I'll think of something.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. You have some time.
I have some. 3 times as long.
Yes.
Really?
Welcome back, dear listener. We just watched the season 1 finale, episode 7, the 8th episode of Twin Peaks, which is often referred to as the final evening. A rather ominous title I did not tell the Unplugged Professor about until now.
Very, very ominous.
If you have made it this far, thank you. Thank you. It's been, approximately 8 hours with us. Mm-hmm. This is
even divided into chunks. That's still 8 hours of your life completely gone.
Yeah, you'll never get that back.
Well, they might. We don't know how their lives are going to go. They might assess time travel.
Okay, I don't believe you're going to get it back. I don't have faith in you
I
to
have
time
faith
travel.
in you. I am your devil's advocate.
So we're trying to say thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the ride. By the time this is up, we should have had... Oh, that's not the way I want to say this. This is the last episode we're pre-recording. After this one, we're going to be putting up episode 1. So if you have been listening to this and have feedback for us, as we've been indicating throughout the pod, you can contact us over at Twitter at... Snake Eye Dreams 1. That was a cue. Snake Eye Dreams 1. You can email us at snakeeyedreams@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment at our channel known as Snake Eye Dreams. So if you want to please give us feedback, if you're wondering if we did something terribly wrong in episode 1 and we haven't corrected it until next episode, it's because we didn't have it out yet.
And if you felt those pods were a little bit off, honestly, listener, if you were on my end and saw this man gasping for air consistently, you'd see how entertaining this is. So sometimes it's unintentionally nice.
I was gasping for air as hard as Jacque was today.
Oh, boy. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to a lot of that.
I had one more thing. What was my thing?
Apparently you lost the thing, so I think we should get on with the pod. See, you are suffocating here. So
okay, so where do you want to start?
I'd like to start in the fact that there's a lot of things that went on in this episode. Let's just go down a list.
Okay.
Nadine overdoses. Jacque is dead. Leo is dead. Cooper is shot. Shelley and Catherine are burning. James is framed for cocaine. Andy is upset. Lucy is upset. Audrey is being walked in on by her father, potentially in a sort of stylings of prostitution. Hank is wanting more. Pete is running into a burning building after the previously mentioned Catherine, but not knowing of Shelley. Jacoby is hospitalized. Not the best day for most of the cast.
Right. One thing I had written down was the list of mysteries unsolved by this episode.
Yep.
So some of this is kind of retreading what you're saying, but just putting another lens here. We do not know at the end, obviously, who shot Cooper. Mm-hmm. We do not know who attacked Jacoby. Mm-hmm. We do not know who was Jay, from episode 1. We don't know who Jay is still. We can speculate.
Jaleo.
We don't fully... they put a question mark. We might know Ben's endgame kind of, but also not really. Mm-hmm. Josie's past, we still don't fully know. There might be hints. Mm-hmm. And then there's the fates of 8 people in jeopardy right now. Some of these are more debatable than others. Cooper, we don't know the fate of. Mm-hmm. Audrey, Catherine, Pete, Shelley, and these are the debatable ones. I guess Nadine's not debatable. We don't know her fate. Mm-hmm. But then Leo and Jacoby are in weird situations. Jacoby's presumably okay because he's in a hospital, but he doesn't seem to be doing great.
Yeah, Leo wasn't moving.
And Leo wasn't moving, but it's not quite Jacque levels of confirmed, so I'm just going to put it as a maybe.
Shot in the heart, not moving, staring at a soap opera. He could make a comeback.
That's the average. The average American watching TV looks just like that. Ha ha ha.
How many episodes did you say there were left?
A lot.
A lot. Okay.
So I just wanted to, for the fairness sake, list everyone who's in questionable state. I don't think I missed anyone.
I was pretty certain that Jay could at least be alluded to, though I suppose not confirmed to be Jacque, since
that makes the most amount of sense.
Yes, because that night she did go to see Jacque at Jacque's cabin where his little Micah bird was. Leo was having a good time with him and with each other, as well as Renette and our dear Laura Palmer.
Right.
So
the point still stands that usually with a season finale, you might think things are going to wrap up in some way.
Yeah.
This, I would argue, has led to more questions than at any given point in the show.
Yeah, honestly. We still don't even have, the connections with Crazy Mike as much.
Oh, and then one mystery we didn't solve that I didn't mention. We don't know who killed Laura Palmer.
No, wait, that was Crazy Bob, wasn't it? Bob was crazy, right?
Bob is crazy.
Bob is crazy.
We don't
crazy
really know
Bob.
I guess you can add that to the mysteries too. We not only don't know the killer of Laura Palmer, we also don't know much at all about the supernatural happenings hinted at us in episode 2 of the season. Mm-hmm. What do you think, just in general, about season 1's finale being so open and having so many mysteries going into season 2?
Going into season 2, my main emotion is But
was it a good season finale?
It was a promising season finale. It's like having the appetizer before the meal. It's all dependent on how long it's going to take before that meal comes through, before everything goes dry on my tongue, which thankfully, due to the Blu-rays, I can make that happen a lot faster for myself as a viewer. But there's also a sense of I just want more. So it accomplishes that fact, but at the same time leaves me a little bit just wanting, not really positively.
With these mysteries, are there any of these mysteries that have gone on for so long you've lost interest or getting frustrated that it hasn't happened yet?
I'll be completely honest. Some of them just kind of fly beyond my radar, that when I look back onto my notes, I'm like, oh yeah, this is still a thing. Will it come up? I enjoy the progression we've gotten from the small details. It's just, I'm surprised that the season finale ends on 7. How about you? Are you all right that it ends on an odd prime number?
Well, if you count Leo when it's 8, which is an even number, and I like that better. There's a lore. There's a lore here between Unplugged Professor and I. This is very quick, so I just explain it. We have a YouTube series we're doing on this show called Revolutionary Girl Utena, and in that plug. And in that, we were deciding how many episodes our series would be. Now, episode 1 is up currently. If you're interested, check it out. Twin Peaks fans would probably like Utena. Sure, if you like anime.
Possibly.
But we were deciding how many episodes it's going to be, and we're like, it might be 9, might be 11. 10, 11, 12, and I'm okay with it being 10. That's perfect. It's a multiple of 5. It's a perfect ending point. 12, the 12's kind of an important number for clocks, the 12 disciples. It's 12 tribes of Judah. Very important number. 11? There's Ocean's 11, but otherwise it's a cursed number and nothing good happens. If your birthday's on the 11th, I'm sorry, you're not going to do anything in life.
If you believe that we can relieve the curse, if you will, and bring light to the number 11 that it deserves, twin numbers, by the way, both peaks at the very top of the number 1s if you count those little dippity-doos.
The dippity-doos?
Dippity-doos.
Okay, that depends on the font stylings, okay? There may or may not be dippity-doos.
Yep. Font matters. Go ahead
anyway,
and
you know where to reach
sneakeyedreams@gmail.com.
I forgot to plug that one, didn't I? No, I remember that one. So that's kind of the general. I thought we were going to go for that at the end, but I kind of like that we just got the big stuff out of the way. As far as how I feel on a more serious note, I don't remember how I first thought watching this. I was never someone who felt at this time impatient that we didn't have an answer. Yeah. I know behind the scenes there are people who, a lot of audience at the time, felt frustration beginning at this point, if not earlier, that we don't know Laura's killer. For me, I think growing up in an atmosphere where I grew up with a show called Lost, in middle school age or whatever, not to age myself here.
Yeah.
So Lost is a show that didn't make half as much sense as what's going on even here. And I just kind of got used to the idea that some mysteries aren't going to be solved right away or may never be solved. And even from a young age, I just kind of learned to accept that. But if I flash back my mind, I don't claim to know what it was like watching the show in 1990, but I understand that maybe people just weren't used to a show that didn't give them an answer. And they were expecting something the show wasn't giving right now.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard to say even if this case can be shut now. Between, like, Bobby and Leland's actions, not to mention also Hank kind of getting in the way of things, like, evidence has been tampered with enough that can you really keep the case from closing? Like, is there just so much far in the open that Laura Palmer cannot be solved by conventional means?
Well, at least we have an unconventional detective here on the case.
Yep, shot.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention at some point that this episode was written and directed by Mark Frost. A few times throughout this podcast, we'll make mention of this.
Yep.
A lot of times Twin Peaks is remembered as David Lynch's TV show. And, of course, the problem with that is that it was co-created by David Lynch and Mark Frost. And not only that, there have been several writers and directors on the team since episode 1. David Lynch has only directed, I think, like 2 or 3 of the episodes so far. I think actually 2. I think the pilot and then maybe episode 2 with the dream stuff.
Yeah, boys.
Which, don't get me wrong, I think those are excellent episodes. I think episode 2 in particular was our longest pod. We had a lot of fun with it. But the other episodes have had different writers and directors, and Mark Frost stepping in here, I thought it's interesting to see what he does when he writes, which... the major thing I noticed with the writing, a lot more fishing metaphors when Mark Frost is at the writing table.
I mean, if there's a place that you're going to have fishing metaphors, it's probably going to be on a mountainside town with various rivers and people who enjoy, like, small activities like that. Like, what else is there to do in Twin Peaks other than solve murders of Laura Palmer?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know enough about Mark Frost. He's not really known outside of Twin Peaks for directing as much.
But for being known for something, I think that Twin Peaks is still a good thing.
Well, yeah, and I think the thing is he's often underrepresented as far as people thinking back on Twin Peaks, that all the weird stuff or important stuff happened with Lynch. Mark Frost was given I shouldn't say given like it was a gift. He took the helm for the Series 1 finale, and I think he did a great job with it. I don't think that it had to be David Lynch running the show all the time.
It began and ended with a nice frosty touch.
Hashtag Frosty Touch.
Hashtag Frosty Touch. I don't know how Twitter handles work.
I don't know. We're on Twitter. We got like 1 tweet out.
Oh, boy.
Please tweet us.
Please
teach
tweet
us the ways of the tweeting birds.
Teach Uncle Ikabe how the Twitter works.
Maybe that's why all the birds are singing.
Maybe. So.
Okay. What do you got on your notes?
So far, it seems that, well, Laura was apparently into the whole entire matter of nearly being killed.
You know,
by
she
Leo.
got off on it. That's in her own words.
There's like I don't know. At one point, I won't be any less concerned for Laura as each episode progresses, but like concern continues. Concern absolutely continues.
We know from Jacque's telling, assuming he's telling the truth, and according to Cooper, he's too stupid to lie. Jacque said that there's a situation where Laura was being bound and the minor bird was biting at her.
Yeah, apparently he's convinced that these are love kisses, if you will. But which, by the way, she attracts all sorts of males, including birds, apparently.
Yes. And we have it where the chip's put in her mouth, and that famous line that Jacque recites.
Leo puts the chip in the mouth.
Puts the chip in the mouth, and then when Jacque's telling the story, bite the bullet, baby.
Bite the bullet.
I really like that line delivery. I've always really enjoyed it. Laura's got some secrets. And it's like, even in the pilot in episode 1, it was pretty clear there were problems with her. But it's like, ever since we've ever since we've gotten to know Laura's past, I don't think hardly any good things have popped up.
No, everyone says she's a sweet little angel. She works on the Meals for Wheels program. She helps out people with their English. She helps out people with their studying and their overall well-being. Apparently, she did a lot of good, but...
It seems like Donna and James's claims that they knew Laura better than anyone else might be wrong.
Secrets are dangerous, as well as Laura, because she is only secrets.
And when Audrey said that she understood Laura better than anyone, I think at this point Audrey might be able to relate a little bit. Yeah. It's getting to a point where, I guess, I'm curious at the time this was shown, how many people, I mean, obviously they cared about knowing who killed Laura, but is it out of any sense of, like, care about Laura herself, or just because it's a mystery? What's the driving force for you, I guess, Unplugged Professor? what are your feelings on Laura? Do you feel like there's a sense of justice knowing who killed her? Do you have any sympathy for this girl?
Oh, I have absolutely no sympathy. However, I can understand a point in which everyone having that sense of... We spoke in a previous episode of having a honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
The beginning of Twin Peaks, which I suppose since it's about 7 episodes, maybe we can call like this start of Twin Peaks the honeymoon phase before we get into the harder stuff coming up. Because again, I don't see how 20 plus episodes will work out. But you know, maybe my tune will change.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Laura is not a good person. If she is alive or dead, she is not a good person. Though I must say, the wig still freaks me out. Like, I'm surprised that Dr. Jacoby was very fooled by the wig seeing her in person.
Speaking of Jacoby, so he's watching Laura or Maddie or whoever you want to believe.
Yep, he's convinced it's Laura.
And he is then attacked by someone in the woods. And as we preluded here, we still do not know who attacked Jacoby.
A masked assailant, likely that is going to be the case in the reveal of Season 2, Episode 1, if I have to make a guess.
Okay, do you have a guess who it is?
No clue. The only person who I think is the strongest candidate who wasn't really around too much because Leland was revealed to kind of be walking down the hallways through the hospital. We get a little bit of fun action with Ben and Audrey leading out from the episode, like he's starting to walk in towards her bedroom.
These are all different timelines, though.
It's shown so close to one another that I don't know how far from it.
I can correct you in the sense that Leland, for example, couldn't have been walking when Jacoby was attacked because Leland was walking when Jacoby was already in the hospital.
I'm talking about like who shot Cooper. We're not talking about
Cooper right now.
Okay, my brain's on Cooper. Sorry, who attacked Jacoby? Okay.
Which I'm saying Leland was in the hospital when Jacoby was in the hospital,
yep.
So that doesn't really let him off the hook.
So I thought that effectively the masked person is the same person, so that's why I'm trying to narrow it down.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I'm just trying to look at specifically Jacoby right now.
Yep.
If we want to do an intersection, we can do an intersection after we've looked at the possible candidates for both.
Yeah. That's fine.
So with Jacoby, the only people who really truly have an alibi here, I believe the casino events are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So I believe
Ben is busy with the Icelandics.
Yep. Jacque, Cooper, Hawk, and Truman would all be at the casino. James and Donna and Maddie obviously didn't do it because they were around the, Donna and James were at the place. Jacoby's place, and Maddie was there being seen.
Not only that, but
Jacoby didn't attack Jacoby.
Like, where did they meet over at? Yeah, they met over at Donna's place to listen to the tape. So I can't even say like Leland overheard that instance to be upset with Jacoby. Right. I don't think that anyone really has an out with Jacoby, except for those who might be connected to Laura Palmer. And out of that, those candidates, it could be potentially Leo Johnson. I'm still thinking the person who I think ended up shooting Cooper, and I'm strongly arming for Hank. Because
do you want to just jump to that then?
Yeah, because again, Benjamin Horne is currently walking towards his daughter in a very fun way.
No, hold on a second.
In a very fun way. No, it's okay. We can keep moving.
Okay.
Currently, Leland is
comment
strangling.
Your thoughts on this moment.
Leland is strangling good old Jacque. We have Dr. Jacoby, who's currently being hospitalized. We have Catherine as well as Shelley in a burning building with Pete. There's only so many people who end up wearing black jackets and black gloves.
Okay, no. Anyone could buy a black jacket and black gloves.
But people we've seen with black jackets and black gloves, we've seen Hank with that.
That is the fun thing about this, though, is because there's so many different threads happening at the same time, there are a lot of alibis depending on how the timeline fits out. I mean, because currently 3 people are in a burning building at the moment that happened.
I mean, at the same time, I don't see how Bobby would have any sort of emphasis on trying to do that since he's trying to get both Leo and James in trouble. There's only so many people who have like anything to do with Cooper for that reason. Like, as far as that I can see in my perspective.
Okay, so Hank is the most suspicious just because Hank's behind everything at this point. Hank's got his hand in all the cookie jars. Yeah. His thumb's in all the soups. His thumb is in all the soups. Thank you. And his thumb is bloody, too, so that's really dangerous. You don't want to do that. A bloody thumb in soup? Oi. It might give it a little umami. Well, I mean, if it's like a tomato bisque. Yeah, you know, when you bleed tomato bisque. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Thank you. Speaking of Hank, we'll talk about Hank here. Shot Leo. I don't really know if we have to elaborate too much on his motive for that. It seems like just kind of wrapping up loose ends, almost.
Yeah, especially since he's got off the phone with Benjamin Horn over, hey, I'm going to go over to this guy and shoot him, but in super secret code.
Mm-hmm. And I really like the scene between...
Actually, you know what?
What?
That's the thing. Like, he says that he's going to be taking care of the loose end, and he probably takes care of Leo Johnson. Did he ever emphasize on multiple loose ends or just
I don't think it's specified either way.
Okay.
That's an interesting thought. I really enjoy the scene between Hank and Josie. The Blood Brothers scene.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, he just kind of like, prior to the point in which, like, he's saying, like, yes, basically being together in some traditions is just kind of like marriage, especially in prison. He brings up the accident with Josie's husband that kind of gets under Josie's skin and compares it to his sense of being caught in manslaughter charges for against a bigger crime of potential murder. And he feels that his time is worth more than $90,000 in that case.
I really enjoy the different styles between the two characters. I think Mark Frost in writing did a great job there, and the actors in delivery did a great job. You have Hank, I wouldn't say he's talkative in the sense of it's like a fault, but he's very vocally manipulative. He likes to use his words to get under people's skin one way or another. And as he's kind of winding around physically, like revolving around Josie in different angles. And Josie's just ignoring him, looking away.
She even spits like smoke at him.
Yes,
but the thing is, he just inhales it. He takes it in.
Yes.
He is not putting down his guard.
And I love that about Hank in the scene, that he's just kind of winding and closing his way around and just talking and talking and talking. And not in a stupid way, in a very like, he's trying to, use his logic and reasoning here. And she just, all she has to say back is, we had an agreement, and just move on. She doesn't find it necessary to give any sort of reply beyond that. I really think it's an interesting power play. And then there's the idea of the Blood Brothers, and you could easily up to this point think Josie's afraid of Hank. And I think there's still a way to read that, don't get me wrong. But I thought was really fun is that after, he cuts the thumbs, they bleed, he sucks his thumb, which he likes to suck things. You notice that with the domino, with more power to him, it's fine. There's some Freudian explanation, I'm sure. And then it cuts to Josie afterward, and she smears the blood in her lips like lipstick.
Yeah, she
does her own way to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not like she's not a part of this.
It's like almost as if Hank fully embraces it, and Josie almost covers herself up like makeup, if you will, because it matches her lipstick color. I
just think it's interesting that she doesn't like get grossed out or freaked out. She just, in her own way, goes with it. So I don't think Josie's as afraid of Hank as it. I mean, that's my take. I think this scene's open to interpretation. I think it's honestly, I'm gonna say it here, I think one of the best written conversation scenes in season 1. I think it's a really, really good exchange between two characters who, up to this point, have had silent build-up for their relationship. We haven't actually seen them talk like that. And I think seeing that dynamic in play was really, really good and very satisfying.
I'm very excited for, because I do still strongly believe we'll get that flashback episode one day. Maybe not in season 1, but since there's so many season 2. Season 2, we'll see how Nadine gets her eye patch. We'll see how the boating accident happened.
Oh, Nadine.
Oh, Nadine. I feel sorry.
Remember like 5 episodes ago when you didn't feel sorry for Nadine?
I didn't, because I wasn't given enough to feel sorry for her.
And now you do.
Yeah.
You animal, changing your feelings on a human being character.
Because that
soap
happens.
opera.
That happens.
Yeah.
Welcome to reality. Nadine overdosed. Like, there's this very intricate and beautiful scene where she just like puts down a little plaid blanket, sits down in this strange like large dress, almost like this like princess style dress, pours herself some water and takes 2 of her pill bottles and just pours it straight into a bowl, and she simply says goodbye.
And it's it's obviously very contentious when you are showing something like someone taking their own life in a show. I don't think this was done in a sensational, distasteful, or exploitative way. I think it makes a lot of sense for the character.
Yeah.
And I think it honestly, I don't want to say it improves the character, because I know that can definitely come across wrong to say that someone's suicide attempt improved their character. However, I think for Nadine, it shows a level of her character that we don't necessarily realize how hard she takes this.
It effectively, like, as soon as she, like I said last episode, when she gets goes to the patent office and she gets rejected, that just hurts her in her gut. She just thinks that there's no use to even try anymore.
And I think it makes it puts a lot of light in how she was responding before. We see her kind of this bitter, angry annoyance to Ed, and then she's obsessed with these drape runners, and we see the side that might make us think, why is Ed still with her?
Yeah.
But then you see the side of it that comes out through her forgetting who James is, getting despaired over the bonbons, and then ultimately feeling so useless to everyone, and I assume especially Ed, thinking she could buy the new TV and kind of help them and, get them to escape everything, that she's willing to, take her own life, I think shows the sense in which she was not at all exaggerating her feelings earlier on this drape runner.
Yeah. This
is her life.
It was a certain amount of light that she had that she was aiming for, because everything else was bitter and angry.
I think one strength of Twin Peaks is how it's able to take something absurd and as seemingly comical as a woman with an eye patch worried about a silent drape runner and turn it into some sort of actual serious moment. Mm-hmm. And I think it's effective. I don't think it's tonal whiplash in any bad way. Mm-hmm. I think it built up well.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree with that.
And then it immediately follows that scene. I believe the scene after it, maybe before it, but I know they were next to each other, is Hank with Norma in the diner. Which I guess, I don't know if you want to start on that, but I thought that was another interesting
that little
scene.
bit of a two-bit tango between Hank and Norma, like he's just trying to creep back in towards her life and just sort of playing it off, saying like, yeah, I was thinking about you in prison. I really mean I want things to go well for us. I believe that I can still earn my way back to you. And maybe he is. Like, he could be genuine about that, because in the end, he wants more money for the issues. Maybe it is genuinely for the diner. Mm-hmm. And maybe it is genuinely for Norma. He can have corrupt senses and values, but at the same time still want a goal that can be somewhat good.
Hank at this point might be one of the hardest characters to read. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of when we've seen him be verbally manipulative, and whether or not what he's doing with Norma is or is not, I would put him up there probably at the top. Now, we'll talk about other characters. I want to talk about Cooper's situation with Jacque and his kind of manipulation. But we know that Audrey and Ben and just those two Horn family members are capable of this as well.
Yeah.
Certain people with certain suave natures can do this. But I think Hank is somewhat interesting because he combines the ability to maneuver and manipulate like a Horn, like Cooper, but in the disposition of someone like Leo, who is the middleman, but isn't stupid about it at all. And I think it's, it's the fusion of Benjamin Horn and Leo Johnson into a person. God. And that's too much Shakespeare and soap.
I don't need no Leo Horns. But no, I actually still think he was manipulating Norma, even though there may be good intentions behind it. The way that he just plays around is very similar to every other point he's played around between Shelley, between Josie. He has his methods of just kind of like working around their emotions and getting under their skin, as we've said.
Sure. With going back to Josie and Hank and all that stuff.
Yes.
As a first-time viewer of Twin Peaks, do you find yourself... I mean, each person's going to take this their own way as far as how they relate to characters and feel emotionally. Do you root for either Catherine or Josie in these situations as time has developed? When you're watching this last episode, season 1, were you rooting for either side?
Like, here's the thing. Towards the beginning, I wasn't really caring too much about either of them. Like, Josie seemed like, for the most part, somewhat of a passionate character, and she seemed to try to work around this larger conspiracy, if you will. Catherine just seemed like a dick that was just blatantly like a dick that effectively wanted a bit of money on the side and wanted to try to better her own life.
She fired this guy for looking at her the wrong way, basically. Yeah. Just existing.
Yeah.
He didn't even look at her. He just existed.
Meanwhile, she just can't handle herself around Pete or anything like that. She's hurting everything around her except for this pseudo relationship with Ben. Now, towards the end, we get more reveals on, like, Josie apparently has this past, which, if you go by Truman's logic, that she can't really change from that. Whether or not Hank pushing her is going to do much to that. There's also Catherine, who, like, throughout the whole thing, even up to the end, she is quite bitter. But she does end up consoling with Pete, potentially to manipulate, but Maybe not. You can read a lot off of the face on whether or not it's like, oh boy, what am I getting into? Or, okay, I've got to go with this. But there's that sense of just like looking to the side and just lightly patting his back as he's just crying inside of her arms. There's also the point in which, like, as Shelley is inside of a burning building, she gives a few snappy one-liners here and there. But in the end, when the building is burning down, she still takes time to save Shelley. Like, she could just run out, try to save her own hide, but she still takes the time to take a hatchet, get this poor girl out of this little trap, and try to get her out.
Do you believe Josie would have shaved Shelley?
Shaved Shelley?
Would Josie have shaved Shelley?
No, I would say that Josie would... We don't see enough of it. I think that there's... possibly a side, but I think less likely, if anything, from what I've seen. Like, maybe she does save puppies on the side. Maybe if it was Truman, it might be a thing. But if it was Shelley, I don't know. But what is true is that I was surprised that Catherine did take that step. So I didn't know about Catherine until she did take that step. So maybe we might see this big old heel to face turn.
If she's alive.
Of Catherine, if she's alive. I have a strong feeling since, like, they're both trying to escape. They're not just going to say, like, oh, yeah, you know that time in which Pete, Catherine, as well as Josie all burnt down in that fire? Man, that sucked. No, I think that there's still more story to tell with those guys.
Okay. Interesting. There's a lot to dig into there. I won't overanalyze, but it sounds like by the end of it, you were more on Catherine's side than Josie's.
Yes.
Okay.
It was kind of like vice versa as we were going through it. If we made like two little sliding bars, they would go in opposing directions.
Do you feel like that because again, we're looking at different writers over the course of 7 episodes building up to this. Do you think that sliding was done well on both ends? Do you think Catherine's slide to sympathy was done well? And do you think Josie's slide to suspicion was done well?
As far as it goes, it doesn't seem jarring, so I can give it that much at least. But at the same time, Josie's was a slow crawl, while Catherine was a large push.
Did you like one style better than the other?
No, not necessarily. I think that both styles had their place. Neither were not done well.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You having some fun chewing there?
We're never gonna find a way to just get here naturally. Let's talk about Lucy and Andy, just to get them out of the way. Excuse you. We've been building in like C plot tier for a while now. Lucy and Andy's conflict, I guess you would call it.
I would call it at least an E plot.
The most minor of plot lines in this.
Yeah.
We have Andy presumably saving Truman's life with a lucky shot. Oh, not lucky.
Not lucky.
Incredibly skillful, instinctually driven shot.
No.
Andy's heart.
Let's give Andy credit on this one. Like, they said that they would train every day at multiple points to try to get him to be better at firearms.
Fair.
And it looks like it paid off. This is growth of ability. I'm okay with that. What I'm less okay with is when he has his hero moment. He sees that Lucy is nearby. And
Lucy's watering those fake
it.
plants.
Probably with Sprite.
Yes.
Like, in Celebration, he goes ahead and sees Lucy and just shuts the door between them and the rest of everybody.
Thinking this is going to be a romantic victory.
They begin to make out over the donuts.
As you do.
And she tells him,
as you do,
very emotionally open, saying that she's pregnant. And
the first open communication she's had with him in probably 4 episodes.
Yeah, and in which she may be going through a lot with that, and I don't know whether or not it is his child. I think it might be implied. It's a sense of being, okay, what do you do now? He just kind of looks upset and walks away, which just makes Lucy more upset and walks away. So this is the most we've seen from their relationship between cute nicknames, and he walks away when she possibly needs someone at this point. Not exactly on my good scale for Andy at the moment.
Do you find moments like that are intended to be comedic?
No.
Okay.
I can see people driving comedy from a sense of drama, but I don't think that was the intention, nor the mass appeal will be from that.
Because I think that was intended as comedy.
Okay.
It feels very 90s comedy sitcom that the guy finds out the woman's pregnant, and then we're supposed to laugh at his reaction, and the way he opens the curtains and looks so dramatically, it feels over the top.
But he's just there's nothing too over the top, I'd say. Like, he looks like dramatically just like makes a small remark, and we just see his backside as he walks away.
I don't know. I get like Everybody Loves Raymond vibes from that guy.
We should have had like 3 catchphrases in between. Maybe I would have gotten the comedy. Just like, yabba dabba, yo gibbity gibbity, I'm outsies. Woo!
That would have sold it for you?
Maybe.
Would it make Andy a better person?
No.
If he had catchphrases as he left the woman?
No, but at least maybe it could drive the comedy home. In the meantime, I'm just looking at this man and I'm just saying, yeah, I can see where the conflict's at.
Do you like his nickname for Lucy?
I had it written down, but I don't recall.
I wrote it down as Panky.
Panky.
Do you like Panky as a nickname?
I would enjoy Panky more if this was a stable relationship.
Wow. I feel like behind the scenes, like there's like a ranking in Unplugged Professor's mind here of like, D&D alignment chart of good, neutral, and evil. And I feel like Andy went from good recently to neutral, and now he's like on that border into evil. He's lawful evil very soon, I think.
He is part of the law, but I wouldn't call him lawful.
Okay, neutral evil.
Neutral. I would say so far he's true neutral for me.
True neutral. Okay. Lucy's good.
Lucy scares me.
So good? You're evil
Lucy
and she's
scares
good?
Me. No. Lucy scares me because right now she is very, very upset for good reason.
Yeah.
She's dealing with a lot, and she immediately answers the phone in not exactly the best tone. So we leave off Lucy not having a good time. I should have added Lucy. Well, I did add Lucy for it, but I should have emphasized her bad points in my overall chart of no one's getting their way this time except Ben. Ben is getting things sold off to the Icelandics.
It's kind of a bleak view.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Only really Hank and Ben win in the respects because he's taking care of his loose ends.
On the plus side, Jacque and Leo didn't win.
Oh, and Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby's doing okay.
Yeah, Bobby almost got killed by Leo. He just had a traumatic night, but he got that one-liner on Leo as he was dying on the couch. And
what
James
a winner.
Is getting framed for cocaine. Don't know why we had to get James framed for cocaine, but by God, we had to make sure Shelley was safe from James's wrath.
Bobby should have had a better one-liner planned than just like, goodbye, Leo. Like, come on.
No, wasn't it later, Leo? Wasn't
maybe
there
later.
There's a little alliteration.
Literal alliteration, but listeners, as you may remember from our last podcast, we know alliteration. He could have got at least 3 more L's. We could have got 3 more L's into that.
The mouth!
Don't remind me.
I'm reminding you because you should suffer.
Those are my notes on that. I also
that.
Do we want to talk much at all about James, Donna, and Maddie?
James, Donna, and Maddie?
If you say no, I would not pursue it. If you said, no, I don't want to talk about them, I would just cross it off my list.
Just go for it. I don't have much to say on them, really, just because James is going in for the whole entire cocaine business. Maddie and Donna just kind of, like, go off screen.
Donna's done nothing.
Donna is wearing a hat. Donna wears a nice hat.
It feels like, to be honest, once Maddie appeared... And maybe this is purposeful, maybe it's not.
I feel like it could potentially be...
It could go somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, I've seen it, so I'll know if that's true or not. But it feels like once Maddie appeared, Donna has kind of went to the background.
Yeah, especially with James.
It's really James and Maddie running the show, and Donna's just kind of there.
Yeah. Second Laura. Or primary Laura.
And it's interesting knowing that Donna was always second to Laura, it seems, before.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of happening now. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think James's perspective after listening to the recording was surprisingly mature for him, where he's like, I'm glad I heard that from her now. I could have wondered that my whole life, what she kind of thought about the relationship and what was going on.
Yeah.
So even though it hurt him visibly, you could tell it affected him to hear that recording.
Yeah.
He didn't like run away from it, because I thought for a moment you thought maybe he's gonna run away from the room because he's shut off the tape earlier. And like there was that one scene at the funeral way back when he was like, I'm not going to the funeral, and then like left abruptly after just literally getting to the house.
No, he says that he needed to listen to that.
I think that's the most mature growth we've seen from this character. Now, I don't think the growth was earned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a character that I felt a natural growth of.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, we talked about Catherine having the kind of the buildup with Pete and with saving Shelley. We'll find out what happens. But then you have someone like James. I don't necessarily know what's happened with him.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's grown to the point of maturity now, when literally an episode ago he shut off the tape.
I'm not convinced. Like, legitimately, I think that at face value, he says that he has grown, but I don't know how far this Maddie plotline will go that'll conflict with Donna, because she looks a lot like Laura Palmer, doesn't she? Wink, wink.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not fully convinced that he's getting that redemption. In fact, he might even go further down. We'll see. Let's see how this cocaine business does with him.
You mentioned the line of, doesn't she look a lot like Laura Palmer? We were back at One-Eyed Jacque's. I know one of your theories early on was that one of the girls at One-Eyed Jacque's looks a lot like Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
Did you see her?
No.
There was a girl there who whispered in Cooper's ear. I thought you might latch onto that for your theory.
Okay. No, I didn't think that she looked too much like Laura Palmer.
I think that was the same actress.
Okay, I'd have to look back into that. So,
but there's a moment where she leans in and she whispers something in Cooper's ear, and it reminded me, obviously, a lot of another scene where a blonde woman whispered something into Cooper's ear.
Yeah.
So I thought you might latch onto that for your theory.
No, I'm not latching onto that for my theory. At the moment, she didn't have like the much of the like front hair bang bob that I saw from before.
Okay. Go on.
Yeah, no, that was like the defining feature. It's like, okay, this looks a lot like Laura Palmer. Is it Laura Palmer? So I didn't see that much inside of her.
Okay.
She just seemed like one of the people there trying to get him to backstage.
Now that you mentioned it, wasn't the same person. Nope,
Yeah.
It wasn't. But it was still a woman at One-Eyed Jacque's doing the whisper in the ear.
Yeah.
What did you think of, while we're at One-Eyed Jacque's, what did you think of Cooper, his ability to kind of pretend to be Leo's bank, quote unquote, to get Jacque on his side?
Completely, again, same thing of just playing around, the ability that he as well as Hank seems to have. Cooper is the anti-Hank, and Hank is the anti-Cooper. So,
do you honestly feel that they're like the strong foils?
Not at the moment, as far as
Or who's the anti-Audrey then? Because if Audrey is Coop, is there a female version of Hank on the loose?
No, because the anti-Audrey is Ben.
What's the female form of Hank? Shank? Hankolette? Hankaline?
I feel like you're really stuck. I feel like you're stuck on like there's like this gender bent version of people out there that are supposed to like act as foils. No, in fact, that's not the case. I am sorry, but you can leave that to your Twin Peaks fanfiction of Shank. No, I feel that Audrey is a foil towards Ben as much as Cooper is a foil to Hank.
Very interesting.
Just because they're going to be likely playing a lot off of each other for the sake of their own personal growth, but they also play similar to one another enough that I can't help but make comparisons.
All right. I have two more characters listed on my notes.
Exciting. Is it Love Carl? Are we going to talk about Love Carl?
No, we do not talk about Love Carl. He didn't appear in this episode because he didn't need to. He established everything he needed to know about his character in our previous episode.
Now, don't spoil me on this, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how much Love Carl do we have to look forward in season 2?
Let me put it this way. Even the smallest amount of Love Carl is like a ton of any other person. Mm-hmm. So if you think about an atom bomb, you know how it's like a tiny atom?
Yes.
And it creates big boom?
I don't know how that works. I'm going along with
that
this.
Is Love Carl. If you know how that works, please don't leave a comment on YouTube about that. I feel like that could get every one of us involved in some big trouble. Not going to talk about whether there may or may not be a nuclear bomb in season 2. We'll not talk about that. Mm-hmm. Not going to talk about that.
I'm excited for the Fallout crossover.
I want to talk a little bit about Jacque, now that Jacque is wrapped up.
Yep.
He's the most dead out of anyone.
No, his brother's the most dead.
Okay, Bernard is several days, hours? I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah.
Dead.
Laura Palmer is less dead than.
Just overall, what did you think of Jacque? One thing I've always thought was interesting, well, I shouldn't say always. One thing I think is interesting upon reviewing now is how much he's characterized within the short moments we have as being just kind of gross. And Cooper's like immediate assumption that he's too stupid to lie.
Honestly, I think that was a smart directing decision to close up on his mouth as he was just trying to describe the overall actions. If you do it on towards his face, you might focus more on towards his eyes. But as his lips flap and just kind of go about saying like, yes, Of course. That time he said to bite the bullet. I'm trying to emphasize the disgusting sort of tone and
Spittle going on there.
And just the feel of Jacque that overall I was very content with that. I think Jacque was played well. I think Jacque plays dumb very well. And I think that for the short time we've had him on the screen, I'd say I wish I'd only seen more, but I suppose I can't.
Well, flashback episode.
Flashback
maybe, right?
episode. I could see Baby Jacque.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the whole Bernard raising his brother, or vice versa.
Okay, would you watch something in which would be the Muppets Babies version of Twin Peaks?
That's a tricky question. Well, I think there was like a Muppets Twin Peaks thing. I could be wrong on that. I know SNL did a
Babies.
sketch. I don't even know what that is.
It's like Muppets but as babies.
Why
they
are
get rid of the puppets and they just kind of like play around with cartoons.
Wait.
Yeah,
they're using babies as puppets?
No, they're using the Muppets are okay. Here's a little bit of realization. Okay, the Muppets are puppets.
Yes. But they're not babies.
So when you make the baby forms of them, you would assume that they'd be puppets, but it's actually an animated show.
Oh, that sounds gross. Just give me actual puppets. Ugh. Anyway.
Usually people would think like the puppets would be more gross.
Oh, no, I'd prefer puppets than computer-generated puppets. You know, I can't feel the texture of my hand inside of a computer.
Maybe I'm even remembering the show wrong, but I think I do remember that it was an animated show.
Oh, well,
Would you
can take your anime and shove it up a puppet. Anyway, what I was going to say about Jacque, I do wonder, though, if viewers now could look at someone like Jacque and think it's a little problematic that the one clearly overweight man or character in general in this show is portrayed as being very, very gross, very, very stupid, and kind of just like this expendable bad guy. Like, especially the way in which it's emphasized his mouth and saliva, is that not a little bit preying on the fact that he is a large man?
I think that if you zoom in on anyone's mouth and just make their lips flap like...
Okay, now you're just making fun of me. Just because I made that sound earlier.
I'm not actually, but we can say that we are.
I'm not defensive about it. I don't know.
No, I think that can be an overall disgusting action. I do think that there is still a usual trope of a large man and a thin man being known as either goons or just overall villain material of not being so smart. So having both Barney and Jacque being the bulk and skull of this situation. I can see where people might see a sense of problem with it. I didn't really think of that until you necessarily brought it up. So when inside of my man, this was just a gross man. If he were like in the side of a Leo figure and he closed up on his mouth and he was saying these disgusting things, I think I would be just as disgusted.
I think that's very true. I just can't help but feel like these characters tying into some sort of preconceived notion about the gluttony aspect, almost like that zooming in on his mouth, the way he's talking in the spittle. We always got to talk about the spittle. I feel like they're trying to give him sort of a, pardon me for comparison here, but almost like a Jabba the Hutt-esque kind of character.
The thing is that the only other person that we have that is as lustful that we can think of is Leo. Leo does fierce...
And Ben. I'd say Ben.
Ben, yes, but the thing is that I would say that these ones are far more chaotic for Ben. Not Ben.
Ben waits for the true pleasures in life, like that bread.
Yeah. Meanwhile, as far as Jacque as well as Leo go, Leo is very anger driven and he has his emotional moments. We actually do see more emotion from his performance in this episode.
Yeah, it was the best Leo's ever done.
But if we zoomed in on his mouth and he had delivered lines, I don't think it'd be strong as Jacque. I think Jacque has, like, his actor has this nice sense of being able to push into smarmy very well.
You know, and I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, I bring these things up not because I'm trying to rouse people's upset feelings. I just think it's a fair thing to consider when looking at media like this. Is it problematic in some way? I don't think it ultimately is. I ultimately think you're more right on this topic, is that it's a credit to the actor that he does embody this character fully for all the screen time he is given.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Jacque becomes such a character because of the actor's ability.
Mm-hmm.
So I am inclined to agree with you. I did want to question it. If I felt like they had chosen a mediocre actor just because they could fit the sort of disgusting archetype,
Yeah.
that'd be bad.
No, I appreciate
I think they chose an actor who may or may not have tapped into people's subconscious, thoughts on people who are obese.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they chose an actor who, regardless of his, physical shape, is an incredible performer in those scenes.
Yeah, I appreciate
and I
that.
wouldn't want him swapped out.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that up. What I don't appreciate is that you tried to think of a way to say it. Why didn't you say rock the boat? There's
I never
so many
thought of
boat
that.
puns. There's so many fish puns inside of this. You gotta try to lean into Twin Peaks.
You should have threw me a line.
No, I am now drowning.
Now
you.
you're
You
trying
are
to
being
bait
thrown-
me.
Ha.
You're trying to bait me.
Ha.
You worm.
No, I'm just leaving you off the side of the shore, just throwing you off this boat, driving away,
Well,
enjoying
anyway.
pineapple drink.
Pineapple drink.
Pineapple drink.
The last character I wanted to bring up.
Yes.
And we have to get to her eventually.
No.
Audrey, the Queen of Spades.
No, that wasn't that diamonds.
That was diamonds. I don't know what shapes
Yeah,
are.
it was a red
It
card.
was just diamonds. I don't play cards. I get confused
Okay,
about...
you don't play cards, but I think we know enough about shapes.
When you
okay?
take a square and you rotate it, it kind of starts looking like a spade.
Weirdly enough, I looked up last week. I'll make sure to get you one of those little kids' toys to match the shapes. They run for about $16.99 for the 7 shape packs, just so that we can get more of an
They're
understanding of
getting
what shapes are.
expensive.
Oh, yeah.
It's expensive to teach.
It's expensive to ship things out in this day and time.
Stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe.
The time we're recording this, COVID-19 is happening.
Yep.
It hasn't reached martial law in America yet. Whatever dystopian future you're listening to this in,
I'm glad the internet still works.
yeah, I'm glad you found a way to listen to us. We appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
Did you have any more? No, we can still talk about Audrey. I was almost going to skip her.
I was actually thinking you were gonna just address the audience. Like, anything else you guys want to talk to? What are your thoughts?
It's okay. You can tell us anything. We won't judge you. We can't.
Okay, that's enough about you. Let's go back to Audrey.
Audrey has got herself in a situation. Do you believe she's in over her head, or do you believe even this is something Audrey can control?
Both. She thinks she can control it, but she's way in over her head. I think
she's wrong. Her confidence is...
I think her confidence is wrong. Yeah,
Okay.
She is literally tied to a chair as her father is walking in. She's looking shocked.
Quoting Shakespeare yet again.
Like,
He likes to... I'm just pointing out that this is like the second or third time Ben's done this.
yes.
He likes his Shakespeare. The same way he likes his bread and his women.
He likes his character. He is very confident with his character, bringing himself forward. He thinks he can woo people, or he likes to pretend he can woo people when it comes towards people being paid enough to be wooed.
He's going to win their wooing?
Yes, Ben is going to win Audrey's wooing.
I hope not. You said he was walking toward her in a fun way,
Yeah,
so not letting that go.
Yeah. Not to mention, we also have Audrey who left a letter for Cooper because she could not reach her.
And we still don't know what that says.
No clue.
That's another mystery we don't have
Another
answered.
mystery before Cooper gets shot twice.
So if you count like the 8 characters, 7 characters we don't know the fates of, we got like 5 or 6 other mysteries.
Are we counting like her letter as a character?
No, I'm just saying it's another mystery along with the fates of these characters.
Okay, yeah.
I don't
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
have a lot to say on Audrey. I just think it's interesting where the season leaves her.
Yeah.
She's one of the strongest characters, but she's left in a situation like both of our main leads, if you count Audrey as the second main lead at this point.
They're left in precarious situations.
They're left in very dangerous situations. I would argue Cooper's is worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, let's go ahead and rate this. Scale of 1 to 10, how would you feel about getting shot?
What is the 1 and what's the 10 mean?
Yes, just go with it.
I would say 9.
Okay, now you are tied to a chair with a card against you in lingerie. Your father walks in trying to flirt with you.
I mean,
Scale 1 to 10, how do you feel?
here's the thing, right?
Scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel?
Am I Audrey
Pure
or am I
emotion.
myself? Because
You-
in my own situation, I'm not trying to expose my father's weird, like, illegal practices behind closed doors. It would just be an incredibly
I
awkward
feel like
moment.
that would intense the number.
So if it's just me, I'd say it's like a 6.
Okay.
If it's I'm Audrey, I would say like a 7.5.
Okay.
I mean, it's still not getting shot. Okay, what if those situations
still
are
not.
combined? It's Cooper in lingerie,
yeah,
tied to a bed. With,
Talking
with
about his father.
Yes,
no,
Cooper's
David
father.
Lynch, actually. David Lynch
Gordon
comes in.
Gordon Cole carrying a gun.
Comes in, walks in, quotes Shakespeare, and
Yeah.
shoots him.
These are the things dreams are made of, Coop. You know, that would be a 10.
I am excited to see this deleted scene if the Ultra 4K Blu-ray ever comes to light.
Yeah.
So
We will have an extended or very short. We don't know how long it's going to be.
we have no clue.
We're going to have a special episode coming up next week, whenever this happens. Talking more of our overall thoughts on season 1, reflecting on some of our favorite moments, least favorite moments, favorite characters I think were a little weaker, and just overall hopes for season 2 coming at you next week. So we'll,
I think it's only my hopes for season 2 because you've seen it.
I could still say what I would hope would happen in my hypothetical season 2. I can do it. I haven't spoiled anything for you yet.
You haven't, but at the same time, it makes me think that you hope for something. But I
No,
don't
we
know if that
will
would
walk the
reach
line.
it.
I've walked the line in this podcast so many times you don't know about, so
Okay.
we're good. Don't worry about it,
Okay,
man.
You walk the line.
I'm Johnny Cash. Anyway, I don't want to say too much about season 1 as a whole. I do want to ask you, though, a very important question. I believe it's the question that Audrey might have wrote in the letter.
Wait, I know the question already.
Oh.
Okay, I know it.
Yes.
Will I make your quote, I am Johnny Cash as my ringtone? And the answer is yes. Listener, if you have the chance, go ahead and take that little bit of recording and add to your text tone and or ringtones to know that your phone is Johnny Cash.
Who killed Laura Palmer?
Who killed Laura Palmer? A gun.
I don't think there were any bullets in her body. I don't.
Yes, but so far the most threatening thing we saw at the end of this episode was the gun.
Do you have a
So maybe
serious guess at this stage?
Like the
end of season 1.
The most likely candidate was Leo, unless like crazy Bob came through in the middle of the woods. Like that's the hard thing. Like
Do you believe Leo's off the hook, or do you believe he's still in the running?
He is shot. He's still in
He
the
still could have done it.
Yeah, he's the most likely candidate, which makes him the least likely candidate in my
So
eyes.
is the next most likely candidate Bob?
Crazy Bob, that is a large bit of potential. We might even be introduced to new characters coming up because Twin Peaks is a big city, but small city with 51,000 people.
How would you feel if the killer is someone we haven't met?
I wouldn't be bothered because this is just in the continuity of season 1, and season 1 hasn't promised any conclusions. The fact is that season 2 is much longer means that, okay, well, maybe they just had something planned off towards the side, or you can reach your own conclusions here or there.
All right. We will be finding out more about season 2 very shortly. Thank you, dear listener. We love you. We appreciate you. We want to hold your hand and quote Shakespeare to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Truly.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm Johnny Cash.